I wanted to have this short talk to just to say we have to open up to people which are well, to diversity, which is obviously the point, but to people which are dealing with some issues. Like, if you want to talk about refugees, you have to include refugees, and if you want to talk about any issue, that's not an expert topic. That's first you have to include people which are linked with the topic. So, well, we had an experience that we wanted to share about being refugee. Like, just if you imagine being persecuted in your own country because of what you are, your orientation, like sexual orientation, gender, or because of your political activism or whatever, and you have to flee. You flee to some very cold place here, far away, and people don't talk in your language. Which information are you looking for? What information do you need? In which language, and where will you look for them? And obviously, you will look on internet. So Wikipedia is the first, like the best reference. So we have to give access to the right now. What we see happening, like in Paris and Marseille, is just people are coming and look for information and go to NGOs where like old white men try to give them explanation in a very bad English, and those people also have a bad English. Well, it's complicated to claim any right if you don't know concretely which are the law, who can help you, and if you don't have access in your own language. So starting from this point, we organized an event about that, and the event was about including activists and Wikimedians and refugees and asylum seekers to write on these rights, like asylum rights, particularly about procedures, law, and also about how, like, organization which could help them. We had a specific focus on LGBT refugees, so we invited girls from an organization named Lesbian Beyond Borders. So we had those wonderful lesbian refugees which came and participated. They were like really wanting to participate because they needed this information where at the moment where they were fleeing. Like, they were fleeing from Russia or from Algeria, and they were looking for how they will be welcomed in Europe, and they didn't have this information in their own language. So we had a time with training, a lot of training session. We had advocacy and awareness raising, so we were in like the World Refugee Day event in some Mediterranean summit, and we were like presenting what we were doing and also showing to people how to contribute. And well, we contributed. We used the richness of these participants, which had so many languages and so many ideas and also experience, to contribute on this topic. So we had this 4-day event, and we had a lot of fun, and we wrote in 6 languages with only newbies, like mostly newbies. We had more than 40 participants, but we had a little team, about 10% being like staying for the 4 days. Like, we wrote 53 articles. So that was one challenge, to have this article translated in minority languages, because we really wanted, for example, Arabic or Russian or Yoruba, to have those information on how you will like be welcomed, because mostly people which are fleeing have not like all the same education level and are not necessarily native in English or French. So, well, we wanted to open it up. So, basically that's it. So my point was, like, diversity is not only about gender or race. Like, we really have this issue of what is the social condition, what is the economical condition, and we need to include people like these refugees to be intersectional. If we want to address some important social issues, we need to include this person. For them, it's like they're gaining skills, like digital skills, computing, writing, also gaining some network in the country they are in, gaining, well, social activity, and it's also a great valorization to write in like the wider and the greater encyclopedia in the world. So I think it's also important for us, like other movements. For Wikimedia, it's important to have diverse and quality information with less bias. So to take what this cultural richness can bring to it. Well, so just to finish this rapid presentation, I wanted to explain that that's our general view. So this refugee program was one action that we are willing to continue and to develop, which came from also an event on LGBT rights that we were participating in Tunis, which were Right for the Right Tunis. The idea was the same, like how the community can share all this knowledge and rights access, giving information on sexual rights, on even sexual identity, because, for example, in Arabic Wikipedia, you will not find them very accurately sometimes. So Hussein Mabida, which is not here, organized this event, and we wrote in like 12 languages, and it was really an important event. There are a lot of ongoing projects that we are having with this will to open to the people which are concerned. So, for example, we have like project with marginalized youngsters, homeless, or having like complicated issues with the parents and being in children's houses, that we want to include in writing some, well, to writing in the encyclopedia and making photo and contribute. They were really willing to. We had like the project we presented in the poster session, which is we want to create an educational game. So the idea is, how can we make it participative? How can we take the input both from like the community, Wikipedia community, because we want the game to educate people to use, so to search on Wikipedia and to contribute in Wikipedia, but also taking the input from teachers and trainers, from youngsters, from people with particular needs, like some invisible disabilities, autism or dyspraxia or things like that. Yeah, I also ran an event about African intangible heritage, because, well, in Europe we have sometimes, well, the history is tricky, and we are really linked to Africa, and we have a lot of diaspora. I wanted to organize something of like just bringing all this richness to participate in the movement. So we had an event, a one-day event, and well, I'm running out of time, but it's just too close. But we were able to have like 6 countries participating and having the UNESCO participating to write on this oral tradition and things that we are sometimes losing while being in Europe from African descent. So
thank you, Leah.
Sorry.
Is Sam here? Yeah. is the next presentation notes about AfroCinema.
Just because that's the names here we are looking for.
Ah, okay. Huh?
Next is
Ah, so we need to switch.
yeah.
Ah, okay.
If possible.
So I will switch. So I will present my presentation. It's working? No? So hello, I'm Camelia. I'm here to present another project of Wikidona user group and the Wikimedia Italy. It's a project about a repertory of women printers in Italy from the 16th to the 18th century. This was a project which was organized by the University of Genoa with our user group and Wikimedia Italy to write about these women printers. This is the main page of the project, and these are all the tabs of this project. This is some of the pictures they did when the lab was organized, and here I will share the slides so you can see the URL of this project. So why this project was born? Is born to create a point of access where it's possible to find all the women printers in this period, which is some time ago, a long time ago, when they are started in the winter of 2018, and we continue on the next academic year. And who did this project? Students, scholars, historians, Wikipedians, and the professors of this university. And how they did this? They tried to improve the bibliography, writing about items, pages, improving Wikidata and Wikisites. So, what are the issues we encountered? First of all, this art profession doesn't exist anymore. So, as and professions, we are not present anymore in Italian Wikipedia. So, we need to use another kind of profession that fits not quite well. A lot of lack of reliable sources. It's not so easy to find things about 3 centuries ago. And a lot of articles remains are orphans because you cannot connect to another one, for example. One of the ideas was to use Wikipedia library, which in Italian it's a little bit poor, but it's very rich in English Wikipedia. We're starting to contact people to do this, but we are on the road, so we didn't fix this in this moment. And for other information, additional information, these are the contacts. Valentina Sonzini, which could not be present here from University of Genova, and Nature Me. So thank you so much. Can you take some picture, please, to share with my colleague that I presented. Just here with this one. It's not me, about me, it's about the slides. I'm interested into the slides to share that this project was presented, so you know about all this. So thank you so much. You send me something? else do you have in commons?
That's what I want. You can just click on it. Click on it.
Just do it. I don't know how to show on the large.
I'm not sure if it's still planned.
Just a moment. If I just download it.
No, I think it's cool this way.
Ah, it's cool. Okay, if you think it's cool.
Hello everyone. My name is Sam and I'm from Nigeria. I'm one of the founder members of the Wikimedia Nigerian user group, and I've been involved in a lot of diversity and inclusion projects across Nigeria and in the continent as a whole. And what I want to discuss with us today is a new project, not so new, called the AfroCine project. I will give a bit of a background to how it started. As we all know, a lot of the topics that have been presented in this space has talked a lot about content gap and participation gap. And we know that this is a problem in Africa a lot of times. We have all of the statistics from Wikidata everywhere shows that the content about Africa is the least represented on Wikipedia, on Wikidata, on Wikimedia projects. And the reason for this is not far-fetched because we have a situation whereby we don't get much people from the continent that are volunteering to contribute to Wikidata. And at the end of the day, you can't get people to contribute. You can't get the content gap fixed if the people that are supposed to write such things are not even writing it. So we have to get people to tell their own stories. So this came about because we were looking for ways to raise awareness for Wikipedia because the internet penetration in the continent is growing. So that is not an excuse anymore. People are just not interested. So we are trying to get people to be aware of Wikipedia and to also find ways to get them interested in actually contributing to Wikipedia. And that's where the issue of pop culture came into the picture, because in most of Africa we love entertainment, we love the pop culture, we love celebrities, and not just in Africa, across the world. But we found out that most people look at Wikipedia as this boring thing to do where nerds just type things on the internet and not get paid and things like that. So when you get people to write about things they enjoy, it's a good entry what was it, how do I put it, a good entry window to get people to know what Wikipedia is about and then get them to even contribute to the bigger things out there. So the AfroCine came by to encourage people to contribute films about cinema, theater, arts in different African countries. And the first project that came about through that is the Month of African Cinema, which took place in October, November last year. This was a major success because we anticipated creating about 500 articles, but at the end of the contest, we had 600 Wikipedia articles in several languages. And we had people from across the continent and beyond organize different events and editathons in their own communities. We have about 8 of them. And in all Wikimedia projects, including Commons, Wikipedia, we had over 1,000 pages created towards the project. And it was a big success. And we hope to continue that this year as well. And last year, this was done without any grants or anything. It was just people passionate about, writing about it. And the first iteration proved to be successful. And this is a good project which can help us to make sure that we get people to participate from Africa in fixing the content gap, because we had about 100 people that participated last year, and this year we're also hoping to have even more people and more articles created for the AfroCine project. Another project that we did was called Offline Nollywood. This is actually not launched yet. It's in participation with Kiwix, and we intend to to get content about films and art subjects in Africa, we intend to get them to offline apps being created by kids. So that is being done, and it's one of the major projects now. And we're also encouraging communities across Africa to, organize events and workshops around AfroCine projects. And if anyone across the world also wants to participate, we're interested in getting content about Africa to other languages in other parts of the world. So thank you very much.
Can I take a picture of you?
Okay.
On the front of the...
What happened?
Thank you.
Can you take it?
Yeah. Just smile. Okay.
Thank you.
So the next presentation, I don't know if we have Katrina, because I'm
So if you have some time, can I have a quick writing talks about 5 minutes or something?
yes, because I think that Katrina is not here. Because,
Can I ask a quick question to your presentation?
Yeah,
no
yes.
problem.
The numbers you share are pretty impressive. That's a lot of pages being created. I have a question. How do you encourage people? How do you reach people? How do you promote the project?
Yes, that's a good question. Thank you.
Amelia.
Okay. Do you also want to ask? Oh.
Okay, excuse me.
Yeah.
Can you please repeat the question for the streaming?
Okay. What she said is, how do we promote the project, and how do we ensure that people get to know about the project? The answer to that is we use the usual means, usually social media. We started with the Wikimedia channels, the mailing list, the African mailing list, the Wikimedia mailing list. We also have the Facebook, the Twitter, and then we had a Wikimedia blog about it as well. So these are the channels that we can use. Going forward, we're hoping to have, even major media companies and publishers talk about the project, so that it can have mass media coverage in different countries, especially countries where there's vibrant entertainment industries, so we can get not just even ordinary people, but even government institutions interested, like film archives, film corporations, so that we can even get them to probably digitize some of their content, especially when it comes to the old things that are not available anywhere. So that's the way through which we're.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions?
If you want to present your
Yes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes of something.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
This is a big surprise.
Yeah, I'm seeking for some opportunity to present this talk.
I don't really know.
Probably I should check.
We have
Unplug it. Unplug it. Try to unplug it.
Okay. I'm having this talk in terms of diversity. Is about preparing more language articles about the same topic. Is kind of very important for diversity. I'm recently I held a multilingual translation in a very small town or rural side of Japan, but still there are a number of foreign residents among Japanese, and let me start. So I use content translation tools, and these slides are mostly about complaints to the that tool. So I'm not just blaming them, but I'd like to share the information about how to host multilingual translation. So there are a lot of troubles or things to care about to host multilingual translation. So we hosted it to the we gathered new editors, new translators, and about 19 persons from 15 languages. So first of all, we have to teach them how to edit Wikipedia or Wikipedia rules and ethics. Besides that, how to use content translation tool in just 2 hours to keep actual editing time. So that means you should prepare a lot of materials or slides for them. So I took a lot of hours to prepare this. And content translation is still better. So, and there are a lot of restrictions, limitations. So 2 participants claim that translations all gone, disappear just after hours of writing. And the other one is content translation tool stops automatic translation at the point where the source article is corrupted. In my case, table description in terms of wiki syntax was corrupted. So the automatic translation, machine translation did not work after that. And only one language pair per one article can be translated at one time. This means that if there are 2 or more translators of the same languages, so they cannot translate the same article with content translation tool. And there are more restrictions about content translation. Especially on English Wikipedia, you should have made 500 edits to be able to use TX. And on English Wikipedia, you should have made more than 10 edits and must be at least 4 days old to create an article directly. So that means it's too late if one creates the account on site. So my idea is avoiding English. And this is one of the very important parts. We tried to translate articles from Japanese to and a lot of languages, but the site was a computer room in a high school. So the keyboards are Japanese, so people just couldn't input. Especially, I mean, they should have used a different layout of keyboards. So people are confused how to input my own language or something. Yes, so thank you. And if you're interested in hosting such multilingual language translation, so contact me and I can be your help. Thank you.
Sure. I need to
Okay.
identify you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we have now a playing session. So the next one is how to include oral culture in Wikimedia movement.
Excuse me, is this a new session? Just stop the old one?
I don't know.
The stream is.
It's a new session.
New session,
It's
thank you.
yeah. It's led by Lionel. May I